How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs beat writer on SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. As you guys can see, we got a little bit better of a camera this time around as we keep making progress with this podcast. I really do appreciate if you have stopped in every single time or at all throughout this journey as we continuously get closer to the 2025 NFL campaign featuring your Kansas City Chiefs. Today, we are going to be continuing on our expectation series as we have covered several players for the Kansas City Chiefs, from Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce to rookies Ashton Gillotte, Josh Simmons, and Brashard Smith. Today, after we just touched on tight end, the second string tight end Noah Gray yesterday, we're going to be diverting back to talking about one of the most polarizing up-and-coming rookies that the Kansas City Chiefs possess in fourth-round pick Jalen Royals. Today, we're going to be talking about his expectations, at least the expectations that I myself have for Jalen Royals moving into the new campaign. So without further ado, let's get into it. As we know, Jalen Royals has a higher ceiling than when he got selected, meaning that he was taken in the fourth round and he had a draft projection around the second or third round, which only bodes well for what the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to achieve in getting their offense more explosive. We've touched on that plenty of times throughout the podcast. The Chiefs did not have the explosiveness last season as they typically have shown in years past, but with the likes of Rashee Rice on his way back, Xavier Worthy going into his second season, I think that adding a guy like Jalen Royals to this offensive room is going to do wonders for the Kansas City Chiefs. So much so that I think that he's going to have a bigger role than expected for his first season. Now, this is an example, not wishing ill on anybody, but as we saw last year, Xavier Worthy, his main priority, at least going into the season in a perfect world as a rookie, was meant to be used as a punt/kick returner. The Chiefs revealed that he would get thrown into that hat once again. But since Rashee Rice went down with injury, Xavier Worthy became the number one wide receiving option for Patrick Mahomes. And while he did show his rookie struggles, there was an element of his game that could be seen positively. So much so that Jalen Royals has been related or compared to Rashee Rice so much that if anything were to happen to Rice or Xavier Worthy for the season, that I think that Jalen Royals is the perfect guy to pencil into the offensive game plan. He's a guy who's got plus speed while he is projected to be becoming a plus starter in the National Football League. He's going to need the experience before they can add that mantra to his name. Now, as we have seen, he could be definitely used in the punt/kick return role. I would go as far as saying that I'm expecting him to begin that way, depending on how the outlook is inside the wide receiving room. Because now that he is, not everybody can be the punt returner, not everybody can be the kick returner. But a guy who is a fourth round pick should have better odds of becoming a more prominent kick/punt returner than a guy like Brashard Smith, who was drafted in the seventh round. Now, if it was just based off of that, I think that Jalen Royals is perfect to plug into that and then hopefully grow. But I think that the Chiefs, and especially how Andy Reid has discussed Jalen Royals thus far in his press conferences in dissecting how well each of these guys do or the role that Jalen Royals could have, it's almost kind of giving an intel saying, hey, you might want to expect this guy to be on the roster in a huge way. He's not going to be a guy who's just going to sit on the bench and watch in his first season while he has the opportunity to get out there. A perfect example of a guy that he might be able to replace should anything go wrong with the current game plan that they have is Juju Smith-Schuster. As we know, Smith-Schuster is on a one-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Much like, or I guess compared to Hollywood Brown, who is also on a one-year deal. Hollywood Brown is looking to get a better taste, a better feel for how things work in Kansas City. As we know, he only played in 2 regular season games last year, and while he was able to kind of help the Chiefs on their pursuit of another Super Bowl championship, he didn't really have the feel that Hollywood Brown was a major asset. But that being said, I think that if Juju does not have a good season, or that he's starting to slow down, showing his age, depending on what kind of version that we get. Last season, he wasn't the flashiest, but in his first year with the Chiefs, he was close to 1,000 receiving yards. So it all depends. But if he does fall short to that, I am fully expecting Jalen Royals to step into that kind of position, take extra reps, get extra targets, even if they're not the biggest receptions. Just get him on the field, get him familiar with what it feels like to play in the National Football League in a professional setting, a loud stadium, the biggest stadiums that he'll ever play in compared to how he was in college, with a fan base that is rooting for him. The only way that Jalen Royals is going to reach his potential is if the Chiefs give him that chance to do so. I am expecting, with how highly they've talked about him thus far, that Jalen Royals will be a guy who's going to give you around 180 plus kick return, punt return yards, depending on which way they go, but also a guy who could be sneaky and put up some explosive numbers on the receiving side of the ball. Perhaps he is around the 200, 350-ish range. Even more, last season, Juju was around the 200s to 30 area. And if Jalen Royals does end up stepping into that position like Smith-Schuster has, I can definitely see him taking that chance of expanding his workload. Patrick Mahomes is going to go into this season trusting his wide receivers, whether it be guys that he's played with for multiple years or guys that he's learning how to play with now. Jalen Royals I'm fully expecting him to be a crucial part of this offense for the next foreseeable future, so much so that it only benefits Patrick Mahomes to get used to throwing the ball to him now rather than later. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up today's podcast. As always, you can follow me over on X at Dom Minchella, where I post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any of it. You can also follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at KC Chiefs on SI, where all of the stories get posted as me and the rest of the team continuously cover the 2025 NFL offseason until we get to training camp, as well as into the dog days of the season. With that being said, Chiefs Kingdom, you know the deal. Be kind to one another, and I will see you tomorrow.